is Mariah, and welcome to my channel, Totally Spines. And you do not have to adjust your screens, that title is correct. Yeah, I have another book haul, and there's not really any excuse for it, really. It's just that I received some pretty unfortunate news, and it put me in a bad state of mind. And I find that book shopping is very therapeutic for me, and this kind of news is life changing. At least to me it is. So like it really just put a damper on a lot of things. Especially I was told this news before I went on vacation. So it's not good. So that's why I ended up purchasing more books. Um I counted them earlier today. It's 26 books that I have here. And I was worried I wasn't going to get these books because most of them arrived while I was on vacation. I thought I put a stop to my mail, and I thought that accounted for packages too because it arrived through the postal service. But yeah, my neighbors did not touch my packages, so it's fine. Anyway, let's get into the video. I'm just gonna grab them from over here. Okay, so the first book I have is Open Season by Linda Howard. I used to read Linda Howard's books like many years ago when I was like a teenager, and I kind of want to read her books again. So I got this one. So the main character, Daisy, she wants to, reinvent herself essentially. After her 31st birthday, she decides to, just become this whole new person because she used to be like this dainty librarian, but she wanted to turn into a party girl. So she just changes her style, her whole persona. And while she's out one day, she witnesses a murder, and now the killer is out to get her, and she's hoping she can meet the one man that she wants to share her life with, if possibly he may need to save it. I'm I don't know, this is kind of different compared to the other books that I read in this genre. Because usually it says romantic suspense. That's always the ones that I gravitated towards when I was younger. So I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this one. So yeah, again, Open Season. All right, these next books is by an author that I haven't read in such a long time, but one of her books is a comfort read for me, and comfort reads automatically get 5 stars for me. So let me start with this one. This one's called Someone to Watch Over Me by Judith McNaught. So Lynn, she has a stellar career on Broadway, and things are looking up for her. And her husband tells her like, hey, there's a house that I'm building for us, whenever you get a chance, we can go up there. So one day she goes up there, but she's caught up in a blizzard and she gets into a car accident. When she wakens, she is seriously injured, and she's informed that her husband has disappeared, but she is considered a person of interest because they think she had something to do with it. And it turns out her husband has been lying to her about who he is and what he does. So friends and enemies, they kind of blur in this scenario because she's trying to figure out the truth, and that might be her ultimate downfall. So yeah, Someone to Watch Over Me. The other book that I got is considered my favorite book by her. I lost the other one, and this one has a new cover, and I don't like it. The other one was blue, and it was of the mountains, and this one does not fit. But the book is called Perfect, and it's about this woman. Her name is Julie. She was in the foster care system for a long time. Like until she was like maybe 12 or 13 or something like that. And she's adopted, and this family, she wants to impress them. She doesn't want to be returned or anything like that. She wants her life to be perfect, and she wants to act accordingly to that. And then the man in the story, Zachary Benedict, he is an actor turned director, and he's accused of murdering his wife, and he's sentenced to prison. And one day he escapes from prison, and things go downhill for him pretty quickly. He ends up kidnapping Julie, and they end up in a cabin in the mountains, and things transpire from there. I think that's where I started liking close proximity romances. The next book is Body and Soul by Abby Collette. So these two right here, they're fraternal twins, Kobe and Keaton. They're very, very close. They were attached to the hip, but they were abandoned when they were 2 years old. So they went to separate foster families. So they linked up once they were adults, and it's like they never left each other. Like they always this close. So they opened a bookstore / soul food restaurant, and Kobe's brother is found murdered, and the police are pretty stumped with his murder. Like they can't figure it out. So Kobe and Keaton decide to figure out what happened. And this is like the start of a series. So they end up doing like these murder mysteries, essentially. So this is like one of those cozy small town murder mystery books. So now this next one is out of my comfort zone because I don't really gravitate towards this type of genre, but it is extremely popular to the point that they made a movie in 2015, and that is The Martian by Andy Weir. Yeah. I read the publication, and apparently Andy self-published this book, and then it ultimately went to, a publishing house, and they then published it. So that's pretty awesome for him. So this story is about an astronaut named Mark who finds himself alone on Mars because his crew ended up leaving after a dust storm, and they assume that he died in it. So he's just there by himself and he has to survive. I've seen the trailer for this movie, and it appears that it would take 4 years for a rescue mission to get him. So next up is The Escape Room by Megan Golden. So I feel like this is going to be a good time. So 4 individuals, they work together and they decide to go on a team building activity to an escape room, and they're extremely competitive. So this is just like a friendly little game to see who's the best, right? But things start getting kind of interestingly weird for them, and they realize they're caught up in a dangerous game of survival. So they may have to put their rivalries aside in order to get themselves out of this situation. The next book is Creep by Jennifer Hiller. If you ever heard of Fatal Attraction, it's basically this book, but instead of Glenn Close, it's the guy that's the crazy one, okay? So a psychology professor named Sheila, she is very well educated in human behavior, and she's very well liked at work, but she has some secrets. Not even her boyfriend Morris, even her boyfriend Morris does not know. So from the description I read online, she is a recovering sex addict. So her boyfriend does not even know this. But nonetheless, though, she makes a fatal mistake. She starts an illicit affair with her teaching assistant, Ethan Wolf. And he's very brilliant, he's handsome, he's smart, and they end up in a 3-month affair, and it ends when Morris proposes to Sheila and she accepts. And Ethan did not take the breakup very well, and then a body shows up in the Puget Sound, I think that's what it's called, and this woman used to date Ethan. So yeah, Sheila's going to be caught up in a deadly cat and mouse game with Ethan. And yeah, hopefully she does not lose herself completely in this. The next book is The Proposal by Jasmine Golori. I think that's what it is. I feel like a lot of people know who this author is. So this book is about a woman named Nicole who's a freelance writer. She goes to a baseball game with her boyfriend who is an actor, and he proposes to her with the whole big screen and everything, and she wants to say no, but she's kind of feeling beside herself because it's in front of 40,000 ish people, and this is going to be very embarrassing and disappointing for a lot of people. And meanwhile, Carlos is there with his sister, and he sees this situation and he steps in and saves Nicole. But ultimately, this video of them, whatever he ends up doing, becomes viral, and it creates a lot of attention for Nicole in a bad way. I'm not sure how they ended up doing this, but they end up in like a rebound type of situation, and they're just hooking up, but eventually they catch feelings. So yeah, this is like a friends with benefits to lovers situation. I'm not really sure, but we'll see once I read this. Next is Lying in a Deep by Deanna Urban. I have 2 other books by this author. The book that I like the most is These Deadly Games, but this one's like a new favorite. I did actually get this before I left on my trip, and I took this with me, and I finished it in one day. I gave this book a 4.75 out of 5 stars. So this book is about a young woman named Jade. She is doing this college program where they are studying abroad on a ship, and she is jilted because her boyfriend broke up with her via text. He is in a relationship with her best friend, and they both blocked her, so she's feeling very beside herself with that situation. And if the fates were calling on you, this is what happens. They end up on the ship too, and she's just like, she's trying to figure out why did they do this to her. And this is the perfect example of spiraling. Okay, I love this representation of spiraling. Like, you are so in your head about like what is going on, and this is like, I consider this is done right as far as spiraling is concerned. Other books where they spiral like 3/4 of the way, it's just, I absolutely hate it. But this was majority of the time, and it was great. It was really great. But ultimately, a murder happens on the ship, and people think that Jade is responsible for it. So she has to clear her name while trying to figure out what's happening before the next body appears. So yeah, Lying in the Deep. I think it's good. It's a good time. There are like at least 4 different twists that I did not expect. So yeah, I think it was good. The next one, I don't remember that I got this one. It's called The Vanishing by Jan and Krentz. I think that's how you say it. Basically, from the back, it's saying a woman suddenly disappears and her best friend needs to find her before it's too late, essentially. So yeah, The Vanishing. The next book is Demina by L.S. Hilton. Apparently this author is very popular with a thriller series called Mostra. I've never heard of that, but yeah, apparently this author is very popular in the thriller space. This one, I'm not really sure what gravitated me to this one, but basically there was a brutal murder in the streets of Venice, and there's a heist that's going on as well to steal a priceless piece of art. And I guess there's a woman involved, and she's trying to outrun her past, and a foe that will not let her outrun it. So yeah, I'm not really sure why it's called Demina. I'm not sure. I just picked it. Okay. The next book is called Dead Lucky by Adriana Cordani, I think how you say it. This is about influencers, four of them specifically: Zav, Ed, Lena, and Maxine. And they are very popular on a streaming platform called Play Me. And a masked figure walks into Zav's apartment and murders him on live stream, and it rocks the world essentially. And Maxine discovers that Zav has this secret file on everybody, basically, of their secrets, including Maxine. So she has to figure out how to get this file before she ends up being the next person murdered. So, yeah, so we got ourselves a little murder mystery here. The next book is The Prisoner by B.A. Paris. So this story is about a woman named Amelia. She lost her parents when she was a child in Paris, and she's making her own way in London. She manages to get a job at a high-profile magazine, and she's living the luxurious life. She ends up marrying a billionaire named Jed, but then one day she is kidnapped, and she wakes up in this dark room. She doesn't know anything about her captors. They have masks, so she does not know who they are or what they want. But one thing that's very mysterious about this whole situation is that she feels safe with them more than she did with her own husband. And that is the mystery within itself. Why? So I'm eager to figure that out. Next up is These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall. Okay, so this story is about a young woman named Helen. It starts off with her and her mother leaving this house called Harrow, and she hasn't been back since, but she's shocked to learn that her grandfather, when he passes away, he leaves her the house, the money, like everything, but on one condition: she has to live in Harrow for 1 full year or she is left with nothing. So she goes to live there, but she has questions of her own, like, why did they stop talking to their extended family? Why is the house built like a labyrinth? What is creating these holes in the forest that appear every day? And why is the house making her sick? So this is like a mystery, a suspense, trying to figure out what is going on in this house. Like, what secrets does this house have? All right, this next book, I'm really curious about it. I hope I like it whenever I get a chance to read it. I've heard some good things about it, so hopefully I like it too. And that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. So Evangeline Fox, she believes in love, but that comes into question when the love of her life is, set to marry another person. So she wants to stop the wedding. So she strikes a deal with this immortal Prince of Hearts. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this, but I hear that it's a cute book. So yeah, there's that. This one, I am shocked that I got this one, because this author, he has a lot of movie and TV adaptations for his books, and I've watched so many of them, like about 14 the last time I counted when I got this book. And this book also was turned into a series, but I never saw it. So I wanted to read the book and see if I should go ahead and read more books by this author, since I've already watched this author's movies already. And that is Under the Dome by Stephen King. I was trying to figure out which Stephen King book I should start reading, and I'm not sure, but this, I was gonna do The Body, because that one, the movie Stand By Me, I actually really like that one. And Misery, I also like that one too. But I wanted to do something different where I'm not familiar 100% with the story, or I haven't seen the movie essentially. So I got Under the Dome. Like I said, I know this was a TV series, and I want to watch it after I finish this book. All 1,000 pages of it. This is a pretty in small text too. Yeah, so the residents that are trapped in the dome, like their attentions start to shift when they realize that being under this dome can be quite dire, because since they're cut off from the world, things are going to start running out, like food and water. And I think the dome actually broke one of the pipes or something like that. Like, you know, the pipes in the ground, stuff like that. Like, it's going to get bleak, okay? And I'm very interested to see how that goes. So yeah, Under the Dome. The next book is called The Good Demon by Jamie Koljolius. I feel like this is going to be a very interesting book because I haven't read something like this before. So Claire, she is possessed by a demon, and she is very close to this demon. She feels like they're sisters. They share a lot of things, and the demon is called her. So eventually, Claire is exorcised, the Reverend and his son, and her is like extracted away from Claire. But Claire feels empty without her, and she's eager to bring her back into her body. Her leaves her 3 clues essentially to find her, really. And she enlists the help of the Reverend's son to find the demon. So that's a pretty interesting way of doing that. So I hope I like this one, because I think this is different compared to other books of, you know, revolving around exorcisms and demons. So yeah, The Good Demon. The next book is called These Shadow Woods by Kimi Cunningham Grant. So this is centered around Cooper and his young daughter Finch. They live in isolation in a remote cabin, and Cooper is basically running from something. He has these secrets, and he does not want his daughter to know. He lives a very sheltered life, and Finch, she's a growing girl. She's going to be curious about things, and he's very adamant of not letting her out into the world. He only has communication with 2 people, a mysterious hermit and his old friend Jake. Jake brings them supplies. So one day Jake does not come, and they have to rely on the supplies that they have. And then a stranger wandering the woods stumbles upon Finch and Cooper. And he's not feeling good about that. He's like, oh no. And then Finch becomes obsessed with her because she's something new, something shiny, something fresh. And Cooper believes that this stranger is going to unravel everything. Next up is Frightmares by Ava V. Gibson. So Dave is working at this struggling house of horrors, and he stumbles across a dead body, and people are looking at him like, dude, is like a haunted house. Like, what are you talking about? So they go to see what he's talking about, and there is no dead body. But yeah, apparently there are going to be some surprises and nightmares lurking at every door, and it's going to be a night of survival, essentially. Next 2 books is part of a series. I don't know if these are the only 2 or there's more. I just happened to see these 2 and decided to pick them up, and that is The Poison Heart and This Wicked Fate by Kaylee Bayron. So the main character, Breesis, I think that's how you say her name. I'm just going to nickname her Bree. She has the magical gift of growing plants and flowers and all that from just a seed. And sometimes it does get kind of out of control. So imagine her surprise when her aunt leaves her a state that's a rundown estate, essentially. And her parents decide that this is perfect for Bree because she can control her powers this way. But there's deadly botanicals that are at this house. There's mystery, there's secrets involving it. So she has to figure out what's going on with this house and why her aunt left her this place. So there's that. I'm not going to read what this one is about because I feel like it will spoil what happened here. So, but this is the second book in the series. The next book is called The Matchbreaker Summer. So Paisley, she essentially working at the summer camp that her parents run, but her dad passes away from cancer, and I think 6 years pass, and her mom has this new boyfriend, and he wants to move them to another state. So essentially her mom is like, oh, I'm gonna sell the summer camp, and Paisley's like, I ain't going, no freaking way. So she enlists the help of this boy named Hayden, who's a self-proclaimed bad boy, and they're trying to break Paisley's mom and her boyfriend up so that way Paisley can still work at the summer camp. So this is like a YA romance, enemies to lovers type of situation. I am interested to see if I like this book. It's a great summer read, so I definitely want to read it, this summer. The next book is The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. This the same author that wrote Then She Was Gone. This one is about a young couple named Tallulah and Zach. They disappear after partying at their friend's estate. And 1 year later, the case has turned cold. No one's been able to find them. And this writer moves into this quaint cottage just a ways away from the estate. And she is like in front of this woods called Dark Place. But she loves taking strolls through it. It's like this dense part of the forest. And one day she stumbles across a mysterious note that says, dig here. So she's thinking, does this have to do with the couple? Or what else is going on? Because technically Dark Place is considered haunted ground. So she's thinking that there might be something else going on too. The next one, I really, really, really hope that I love this book. Because it's a dark comedy. And I feel like I like that sometimes. I feel like if you read this book in public, some people are going to be looking at you kind of weird because of the title of the book. And that is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackey. So the main character, Grace, she, had an unfortunate start to life. Her bio dad abandoned her. Her mom passed away from cancer. And years later pass, and she finds her bio dad. And it turns out that her bio dad and his family that he has treated her mom very terribly, especially while she was sick. And Grace decides to get revenge on her father and the rest of his family by murdering them. But she's like, no. I can't just do this to Reeves' suspicion. It's going to have to look like unfortunate accidents. Like a car accident here, a drowning there. So, yeah. And on their way out, I'm going to make sure that their livelihood is broken down as well. Their vanity, their shamelessness. Yeah, I'm going to bring it to light. So, yeah. The next book is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I read The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, so I decided to pick this one up. So this is like a enemies to lovers type of situation. Liz Bosebaum, she has always known that Wes Bennett is not boyfriend material. She lives next door to him, and essentially they're just enemies. He plays pranks on her. She does not think it's funny. They're not getting along. And then her all-time crush moves back to town and she wants to get his attention. And it's just unfortunate because he becomes friends with Wes. So Liz gets the bright idea to ask Wes to help her get this boy's attention. And yeah, their feelings might start shifting for each other. So yeah, better than the movies. And the last book, if you've seen one of my videos, like probably January or February, I did a video where I said I would not be reading books by this particular author because I feel like they're too popular for my own good. But I decided to bite the bullet and purchase this book. And all I gotta say is, if I find out y'all are lying, I'm not gonna trust you. So I decided to pick up Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm pretty sure that that if I'm starting fantasy, this is probably not the best book to start with. Especially since the series is not done. But all I know is that I feel like this would be easier for me to get into because there are less books. But if I really like this, then I don't know. I might do Throne of Glass. I'm not sure about a Court of Thorn and Roses. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, I wanted to read this one. So this story, I have no idea what it's about, but I decided to pick it up. And those are all 26 books that I decided to pick up because I was sad. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.